All right,
Let's try it
hello,
again.
ladies and gentlemen. We are back at it with the One Nation podcast, bringing you some brand new topics that we are going to discuss for the next, I don't know, maybe 8 minutes tops. Who
Wait.
knows? It could go to a half hour, but we're not really sure because we're new at this. So we're just letting you know that we get most of our topics from our viewers, you guys, and we are fans of our fans. So feel free to just shoot us as many topics as you want, and we will try to discuss as many of them as we can.
Mm-hmm. All right. So first
Okay,
topic.
so
Yeah. Go Trump versus Hillary. You started off again.
Okay, so with the Trump versus Hillary debate, to see who we are going to have run this country of about 300 million people, pretty big country in the United States of America. We got Trump on the left side. He's a pretty straight talking man, but, I'm not sure that's a good thing when you're just saying, like, hey, kill all the Muslims, that's a little bit of a problem. But on the right side, we got Hillary over here. She's just a snake in the weeds. You can't trust anything she says, deleting her emails, doing all that snazzy stuff. So, well, I'm just going to throw it over to you to discuss more about this.
All right. So my opinion, I think Trump says a lot of the things that not everyone wants to say out loud, but some of us think it. Like we know that we're under attack and everything, and not everything's good in our country, but no one really wants to say that out loud because everyone will make fun of them or call them awful people. And then on the other hand, Hillary, snake.
So here's my question to you, Wally. Do you so you this listening to you sounds like you're okay with Trump. How do you feel about when he said it? Let's grab him by the pussy.
You know, hearing that, you can't really just say that, especially if you're running for president. That's just kind of awful to say. Um, but on the other hand, it's like not like you said, kill them like something awful. Like I mean, it is bad, but it's not like end of the world. It's just kind of something that
But
guys
he's
talk
been very
about.
consistent about saying things like this, where just a
I see
lot
your
of things
point.
that he says can be considered similar to this and that they're very
That's true.
outgoing that you wouldn't expect a public figure to say.
He's
So
not very filtered. That's why. Most of these politicians are really filtered. Like they only say what you want to hear. But he's not like that because he wasn't a politician till last year, 2 years ago.
so would you
Um,
say that having a filter would be an important part of being a politician, or do you like that he has no filter?
it's all right. Like he'll talk about how he says what's on his mind, which is good. He's not talking through like a PR person or anything. Or I'm sure he is, but like not as much as other people. Like I'm sure
Well,
Hillary has
we've
everything
got a
prepared.
we've got a nice question from I try Mr. Right here, and he says, "What's your thoughts on about how Trump would put his key in his daughter's keyhole if they weren't related?" I'm gonna have to say I find that a little bit disturbing, but on the other hand, he's saying if they weren't related, which means that yes, he's saying like, oh, I find her attractive, but because we're not related, I'm not willing to cross any lines. So it's definitely not incest at this point.
I'm just not going to touch on that subject. That's just kind of weird.
Okay, somebody hit.
All right. All right. Yeah. So, okay.
So
Who do you
going
think?
into more detail about him,
All right. All right. It's fine.
let's just say like Hillary versus Trump about the wall. Do we think that the wall is a good idea? Because on one hand, he's saying we could save billions of dollars by keeping these jobs out of the United States. On the other hand, it's going to cost billions of dollars to build a wall that seems pointless because people could just, I don't know, drive through in their cars.
Yeah. The wall is kind of a. I think it's more of a figurative thing. It's not a physical. Not a physical like. Or I'm sure he thinks it's a physical wall, but I don't think that's not really
So would you say that he's
possible.
trying to cut people off quick?
Cut people off quick. Like he's not like a snake. Snakes would like constrict people. He's cutting them off quick.
He keeps
Oh,
a small circle.
exactly. Small circle. We have a question in the chat. A thought on Hillary's emails. I'll ask. You can answer that one.
Well, all right. About Hillary's emails, let's be honest. You don't accidentally delete. I don't know how many was it, like 3,000 emails. There's something going on here that she's just not willing to bring up because she's a snake in the grass. You can't trust anything she says. I mean, this election is going to be a struggle because on one hand we got one person that makes you want to shoot myself, and the other person makes you want to shoot myself also. So the only solutions here are just either don't vote or shoot myself, like, which is,
All
not a
right.
good thing that you want in a democracy.
One thing is, I know a lot about snakes from personal experience, and
Okay.
I accidentally deleted your audio somehow. I don't know how I did it. So I'm sure she's saying something like that. Do you know if she's ever said anything about it? Like, or does she just dodge the question all the time?
I think that she usually just dodges the question. I don't think she likes being confronted straight up because she's, a snake in the grass. And when you find the snake in the grass, most of their power lies in the fact that they can't be seen. But when you pick her out and you're like, oh my gosh, you did this, you know,
That's true.
get wrecked, nerd.
Get wrecked, nerd. I mean, I guess that's something to think about. Just get wrecked, nerd. So overall,
Along with
they're
the
just.
Hillary thing, let's move on to talk about Monica Lewinsky. Okay?
I don't think we need to talk about that.
Do we think that that will have any sort of impact on
No,
this election?
no, I don't
I would
think
have to
so.
say yes.
Why do you think? Hey, I'll
The
let you talk
fact
about this.
that your husband was the president and the only president to have been caught getting dome in the White House is something that needs to be mentioned.
It's true. It's true.
I
Uh,
mean, I think that that would show that your husband was the president, therefore she's probably getting boosted to this point. Like, think of it as if I'm a cutie pie just got on, was like, hey, I'm boosting you to challenger. That's what her husband did. Because everyone knows that only men can get to the White House and that women depend on the men to try to get there.
that's an interesting quote to be broadcasting. All right,
It's very
I think we're
factual,
good to
though.
move on. I think we're good to move on. So let's move on. Topic two: sports in high school. So a little bit about this topic. It's how sports have an effect on high school students, if they're a bad effect on them, or it's good for them. What's your opinion on this?
Well, on one hand, I would say that sports are very good for students, but I think that my personal opinion is that they take up way too much time. As sports become more and more competitive, because schools are getting bigger and the teams aren't getting any like larger, because the football team can only have 11 defense people and 11 offensive people. But with 2,000 kids, in order to be able to compete, you have to spend hours and hours trying to get on this team, which is really hurting kids academically, because
That's
they
true.
aren't able to spend as much time on studying and stuff, which can lead to people, I don't know, such as many of them are of African American descent,
Jeez.
tending to do poorly in these schools in the school of silence because of all the time they
Oh
spend
my
trying to
god.
become the next Adrian Peterson, trying to be able to beat their son. What do you have to think about this, Joel?
All right. So,
Hey, all right, you need to talk about this now, okay?
all right. So,
I'm throwing it
my
over to you.
opinion, sports have their place. Um, they're good. They build community, make friends. But I do agree they take up way too much time, and it's surprising how we could have a, like a school could have like 2,000 kids in it, and their football team could still be awful. It's just pretty interesting to me. Like, let's say they lose to like some team called like Lakeville North, like they only score 6 points or something. That'd just be insane.
Hypothetical, of course.
Hypothetical, just random. I don't know. I'm just pulling this out of thin air. They're losing like 49-6 or something. I don't know. I'm just a random score. Um, it's kind of crazy. Like they spend all their every day after school until like 6 or 7, like practicing where they could be like doing homework or something, studying, and they're still not
So,
really
in
getting
your mind,
results.
do you think that schools should put a limit on how much time they can demand from their
I think they
players to
should.
practice?
I think that's a good idea. Maybe like not practice every day, have a day or two off during the week. That
I'd have to agree
I
because
think
at
that'd
some
be a
point you have
good
to worry
limit.
about academic burnout.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that giving this limit of, I don't know, let's say 10 hours a week would really, allow for students to have more time to, work on other
Mm-hmm.
things outside of school.
For sure. It should be like state regulated too. If like just like Mondays and Thursdays they get the day off or something. Like that's just random. Probably not Monday, like maybe Monday, Wednesday, because if they play games on Friday. They probably don't practice
So now
Wednesday.
that we're talking about sports in high school, I feel like it would be a really good topic to bring up Title IX. Do you have
Hmm.
any sort of opinion on this? Because I think they can have an impact on like what type of sports each person plays, and because of the fact that there's like each for each men's sport there has to be a women's sport, it can really limit the number of athletic teams available to people because you have to keep them equal on each side. Which
I think, I think
I
it's,
don't know.
I think it's fine. Like, it's good to stay equal. Yeah, I think some sports like I don't know. I think it's fine right now. It's really not a big deal at the high school level. College level maybe because you heard of like St. Cloud and they had to shut down some of their sports programs.
Mhm.
What is this? They had to shut down some of their sports programs because of it, and I think it should not be in effect in college level, but high school level it should be in effect.
I'd just like to give a quick shout out to one of our fans, Rocker LOL. He made a really nice picture for us that we could be using
Oh,
in future episodes.
yeah, shout out to
So
him.
just feel free to check out that,
I'm
as
gonna
I
save
think I'm
that.
gonna guess that we're gonna be moving on to our next topic.
Sure, sure. All right. So let's move on. Next
Oh,
topic.
oh, oh!
What? Okay,
I try
okay.
Mr. Vi actually just brought up a great topic. Why aren't you guys talking about esports, League of Legends, and EVHS? So in my mind, esports is a big up and coming,
For sure.
event that's taken over the youth, and schools should really be sponsoring this. And they should be allowing for kids to, try out for any sort of sports or teams that they want, and that could include esports. So I'm thinking that a League of Legends team, for example, could really work out well and would be interesting. What is your views on this?
I think if it was run by the right people, it definitely could work out. Like there was one a couple years ago, and it didn't work out as well. But I don't. I just think it was the organizers that had some issues. I think if you get like motivated people to actually run it, it could actually really work out. Yeah, I was saying that. I could see it working. All right.
Okay.
You want to move on to the next topic?
Yeah.
All right. So topic 3. Everyone wants to hear about this. The Vikings, they're 5-0. What do you think about them? And do they have a chance to make it to the Super Bowl and win it?
Well, let's face it. At 5-0, we don't see any chance of the Vikings losing any games at all. I'm going to guarantee, actually, right now, 16-0 season, probably more, unless a hurricane comes in and just destroys America
I see, I see.
after 16 games, because we're probably going to win the Super Bowl. I don't know how many games that'd be. I think it was like 21-0 or something like that,
Mm-hmm.
because the Patriots came really close to that a while ago. So I'm just going to say definite Super Bowl win, definitely the best teams in the NFL right now.
Um, I would, I would say I agree, but I don't. I think the Patriots are actually better right now. So the Vikings, they got the best defense in the NFL. I'll say that. But their offense is definitely lacking. It's they just don't have. I don't see them like having a big offensive power late in the season. They have Bradford, who's played well. They have Diggs, who's hurt right now, but I don't know. I just don't see them going far with their offense. If they run into a good defense, they might be in trouble. What's that say? Come on now. And then yeah, but the Patriots, they have a good defense and they also have like one of the best offenses in the NFL. But
Oh, along with the Patriots, I mean,
I do hope the Vikings go far. I think they will.
yeah, I'd say that one of their main people that could bring him down could be the Patriots. And when you're going up against Bill Belichick, you can never really tell what's going to happen because he's a little bit of a wizard,
Mm-hmm.
which could cause some problems
Yeah,
in
I
future
really
games.
had
But
to see their.
even through this,
I would hate to see their season get deflated.
even through this, I'm still gonna have to say, definite 5-0
I like
is
it. I
gonna
like it.
continue. The undefeated streak is gonna continue throughout the rest of the season, and we're probably gonna win the Super Bowl.
All right, I like that. I like it. It's a good, I can see it happening, but as a Vikings fan for all my life, they always choke at the end of the year. All I'm saying is, if Blair Walsh misses another field goal to like move on, I don't even know. I don't even know. It's gonna be bad. All right. Topic
Okay.
4. We good to move on?
Yeah, we are.
All right. Topic 4. This is actually sent in from one of our viewers, Philip Austin Rambo. He says it's actually directed at you. What's the meaning of your fantasy team name? What's your
Me? Oh, okay. So
What's your
my
fantasy
fantasy
team
team
name?
name, for those of you who don't know, is Breach the Gates.
Mm-hmm.
And this is something that I learned from a Trick 2G stream, that the most important thing isn't about wins and losses. It's about whether you can get in there and get what's done. Get what you need to do done.
I like it.
You know,
Simple.
that's pretty much the basis. If you look at my
Simple.
my picture, actually, you'll see the Trick 2G emoji, because he's a hero of mine. I'm just gonna throw that out there. He's a definite hero of mine.
I'll see if I
And
can pull up
that's
this.
kind of what I base my philosophy on with fantasy football.
All right.
You just gotta get in there and get what's done.
Let's
That's
see
just
if
what
I
I do.
can find a picture of your fantasy team name or your team picture. Let's see.
Okay, so in the meantime, while you're trying to look that up,
All right. All right.
I have a question directed to you, which is, do you think that Vikings players should be required to flex before each game to show their dominance? I'd like to hear from Alex Walrath, as flexing is his passion. Do you have anything to say about that while you're trying to find my?
I don't know why you wouldn't be flexing. That's all I'm gonna say. It's a simple quote right there. It's really just simple.
Really, it doesn't take away anything. It just adds,
It just adds,
makes you feel more powerful, builds up some testosterone.
Exactly.
You know,
All right.
makes your gonads bigger.
I got the picture
Wait,
right
what was
here. All right, open. There you go. That's his check him out if you want to. That's his picture right there. All right. So, let's move on to our 5th and our final topic if you're ready. All right. So, we got a question sent in by one of our viewers. Benjamin Spaniard, it actually was, and he wanted to know about his chances in fantasy this week. I have a picture of their matchup right here. I believe he's playing Team Wrecked as the Raging Snails. Excuse me. First rundown. What do you think about this?
Well, just looking at it right now, any team that has Jerick McKinnon starting, even though he's a Minnesota running back, and you gotta love the Vikings. They're not really getting carried by their running backs right now. They're getting carried by their defense.
Exactly.
Jerick McKinnon just doesn't belong in any starting lineups.
He's on bye though. He's on bye.
That is true. So he'll probably be starting. Eddie Lacy's been having a bad season. Jordy Nelson, I don't think has been doing very hot. Kelvin Benjamin's had some off and on weeks. He's had some good weeks, had some bad weeks. Jeremy Hill should be okay. Carson Wentz, boy, don't even make me start flaming you. Starting Carson Wentz in fantasy football, Jesus Christ, get some self-respect.
I mean, he's not bad.
So I think that's enough to sum up my score. My idea is Team Wrecked is probably going to get wrecked in this next game.
That's a bold prediction. Looking at it for me, I see he's got 3 players on bye, all in the Vikings. Bad planning there.
Well, I would say that he's probably going to be changing his lineup.
Well, yeah, for sure. But he's losing 3 of his starters this week. So he's going to have Eddie Lacy in. He's going to have to pick up a tight end. And he needs to pick up a defense. Honestly, I could see how Team Wrecked would win. But on the Raging Snails, I think he has them beat in every category except wide receivers. I like Team Wrecked's wide receivers a little bit more. I think they're going to have a better week. They're playing.
Yeah, I think it's got more to do with the buys than like the actual overall.
Yeah, that's true.
Team.
Like Kelvin Benjamin, I think he can pop off against New Orleans. Jordy Nelson against Dallas, that could always go well. But Dallas is a pretty good team this year. I don't know. I don't see Team Wrecked winning this. I think it's got to go to the Raging Snails.
But what would you give as your predicted score?
So we agree on the Raging Snails, right? We're gonna have them winning.
Agree on the Raging
All
Snails.
right.
Yep.
I'll say the score 87-62. What about you?
Okay. I'm going to have to disagree and say it's going to be a little bit higher, and it's going to be a little bit of a bigger gap between the scores. I'm going to have to say 60-95 Raging Snails. Raging Snails have been on a hot streak ever since switching his name, because he actually picked up that name from a friend of his that had been using that name in fantasy football for multiple years. But he recently stopped playing fantasy football, so he picked that up, and I think that it's pretty much got the momentum in the name to carry him through to
All right.
probably a strong second half of the season, even though it's only been a third of the season.
For sure. I'm gonna turn the questions. That's our last topic for today. Any questions down from the chat, the live chat right now? Go ahead and type them out. We'll try to respond to as many as possible. I'll pick some out if you guys have any. He also, oh God. I mean, I'm not sure if they're gonna have any good questions.
Okay, so one question that I see is, how do people lose lane? I just don't get it. Now, this is a topic about League of Legends for those of you who don't actually play the game.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty much that one of the main problems in a solo queue, which is ranked League of Legends games, is that a lot of times you get on teams of people who just die over and over again. And they make the other team so strong that you just can't take them down, no matter how good you are at the game. So my theory about this is that you just gotta take it as it goes. That each time that you start a game, there's a 50-50 chance whether each player on your team is going to be a feeder or get fed. And as it turns out, according to the laws of nature, it always ends up actually being that that's wrong, and that
it's always your team.
75% of the feeders end up being on your team. I just think that Riot needs to find a way to fix this because the statistics just doesn't match up. They need to make it so that the feeders even out among everyone.
All right. We got some more questions coming in. Chips, this one's actually, this one is more centered at you. You see the one from Rocker? You talked about the Washington
the professor
yep.
of University of.
Yep. He wants to hear your opinion on that.
Okay, so I know that this is being recorded, so I'm gonna avoid saying anything overly racist.
Jeez.
But while I read this, let's see. Saying Black Lives Matter is as racist as the KKK. I'm gonna have to say that's simply false. The KKK, the sole basis of the KKK was to kill black people,
mm-hmm.
which isn't a terrible goal. But Black Lives Matter, on the other hand, talks more about just improving black people's situations rather than attacking white people. And I'd say that the fact that Black Lives Matter is meant to be more defensive, while the KKK is straight up just kill all of them, is the main reason why they're simply not as racist.
I'm not even gonna address it. All right. Well, I think.
Yeah, I'd say that.
I think that's all the questions. I'm pretty sure that's all the stuff we got for today. If you guys have any questions or want to support us, you can follow us on Twitter. Up here. At One Nation Show on Twitter. Just started the Twitter. Tweet at us any questions you have for next week. We're gonna plan on making this every week, or for now, and then maybe more or less depends on what kind of response we're getting from everyone.
Yeah, for now, just try to plan on 6 o'clock next Monday. But who knows? Check the Twitter if there could be any changes, because that's where we would post it.
Mm-hmm.
And also, just make sure to send us as many new topics that you want us to discuss and questions that you want us to discuss.
Exactly.
Through either the Twitch chat or on Twitter. I almost said Facebook. Jesus Christ, I'm not 40 years old.
Meme. Top meme.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
So,
thanks everyone.
Yeah, looking forward to see you guys next week. And also, we will be bringing a guest for this next week, so look forward to seeing that. And that's probably all that I got to say.
All right. Thanks for tuning in, everyone.
See you guys.
See you.